the reality is the situation now. And the situation now is that the system, i.e. the natural ecosystem, is changing, is being affected. It is being affected by a human-made system that we're going to label shareholder capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously, and within human society, there is also like the wage disparity and the poverty and
mm-hmm.
the wage gap and all of those things.
And gender gap. And
all of those aspects. So what you are saying is now we need to change the current system, shareholder capitalism, and morph it into something.
Right.
My question to you is, because that's the $2 billion question,
that is the $2 billion
into what?
That is the $2 billion question, because I think we need to involve our students in that conversation, because you and I don't have the answer. No one does.
I certainly don't.
But
I was counting on you.
But it's going to be their challenge, and I think that for our students, it's actually an exciting time. When is it easiest to make change? In periods of chaos and flux. We're in it. We're in a serious period of chaos and flux. I don't want to get too political in this conversation, but what Donald Trump has done, he hasn't just reshuffled the cards. He's thrown the cards in the air. Mm. Someone's going to have to put them back together again into something. And I'm not sure he knows how to do that. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe there's a plan, but I'm not quite certain there is. So that will be up to the next generation of business leaders. And so I want to teach business students to be, what I say, stewards of the market. And you know, it's funny. I can actually quote the conservative pundit Tucker Carlson on this. Tucker Carlson said, quote unquote, "Capitalism is a tool like a stapler gun or a toaster. If it's broken, fix it." Mm. And the idea that the system can continue to work without any kind of adjustments, any kind of efforts to, as Anand Giradhara says, smooth out its rough spots.
Right.
That's just nonsense. I mean, you're a dean of a school. Can this school continue to operate if no one is trying to manage the systems and the organization? No, it'll fall apart.
No, of course, yeah.
And so capitalism is the same thing. And
okay.
So I think
the cards have been thrown in the air, and they're, so now, we can, now is, as you say, chaos. So it is the opportunity to get all of those cards and stack them in a different manner than what they were put together before. Right. But the only thing I would say, which temper my, and I think you're right, that it's in period of crisis and in period of chaos that we can innovate and found things. And it's unfortunate that we have to go that far, but it is, history has told us that that's usually when things happen. The only thing I would say is that even recently, I remember when COVID-19 happened. I remember reading wishful thinking article about all of a sudden, of course, the CO2 emission went down because there was no activity. And, you could see wild animal here in Dublin, going through the streets of the city center and reclaiming a space that had been lost for,
Is that true?
Yeah. They escaped from the Phoenix Park, and because the Phoenix Park is right in the middle of the city and there was no car, they just started to venture all around. Now we have foxes anyway. We have foxes on the Trinity campus, so even though we're in the middle of the city, so they were kind of always there, but they really took the opportunity to wander around. And then people felt like, oh well, this is the opportunity to rethink, because we're spending time at home with our kids and, pressure on work. It's it's not the same. And then what did you see? Within a year or two of post-COVID, the airline industry, we all, and I was guilty of it like many others, let's go to Australia because we haven't been out of the house for 3 years. So everyone, let's go. And we did.
Right.
And millions, thousands of people who had the means to do so have done the same. And but more importantly, business as usual came back very quickly and ferociously.
Yeah.
So that's.
But let me offer a different stimulus that I think is at play right now, and that's insurance. Insurance markets are changing because of increased risk, increased severity, increased frequency of natural disasters. And it's not just the big sensational ones. It's what insurance companies call secondary perils. We have rainstorms. Now we have atmospheric rivers, and those cause damage to sewer systems. They cause periodic flooding. We have heat waves now that are causing highways to buckle. I mean,
so that's re-internalizing externalities, because the risk is so systemic to the system that it needs to be reintegrated in the capitalist
and it is
system.
altering the system.
Okay.
So you can.
So it's making its way back in, like
right. And so I think that's a very important metric, because you could say climate change is not happening, but
very few people in Europe say that.
Yeah, I know.
I think a bit more in the US. I believe.
But if I monetize it for you,
okay.
Deny it all you wish, but it's a fact that your insurance rates are going to reflect this.
Yeah.
I mean, insurance companies are not making a political statement. They're looking simply at the numbers.
No.
And the numbers don't work.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So one area of hope is the fact that we need to educate people or trust like the next generation, the current generation, to do a better job than we arguably did. So I'm going to turn now maybe to the topic of one of your latest book on the fact that business school in general have to own some level of responsibility for the system that you have described.
Right.
And so the question I'm going to ask you is, what do business schools need to do in general to address those systemic problems? What is the role we should be playing? Then, I might even go further after. It's like, if you were the dean, like, what would you do? And then, like, I'll tell you whether or not I think it's feasible or not.
I'm gonna give you an answer.
Okay.
But I'm also going to say that my role right now, I'm not a dean.
Sure.
And so that allows me to play a very important role called the radical flank.
Of course.
I can push the boundary much further so that the center of the debate moves.
Yes.
So I'm going to say things.
That's why I'm delighted you're here and you're going to challenge me.
Yeah, so I'm going to say things and you can say, that's a great idea, it's just not possible. But at least I'm going to put it on the table.
That's very good, yeah.
So I think that we in business schools, in no particular order, let me walk through some ideas. We do need to take some responsibility for the kinds of graduates we've created.
Sure.
There is research, solid research, to show that students who apply to business school score high on the dark triad: narcissism, psychopathy, Machiavellianism. There is solid research that says...
and just to cut you here, because I think you had a great anecdote when you were talking about the, Wall Street.
Yeah.
When people if Wall Street was created or made, so that people feel disgusted with this environment, and you said you have experienced students that actually went into business because they saw Wall Street.
Right. The movie Wall Street and
Wolf of Wall Street is probably the same effect. My son is fascinated by this lifestyle.
This is what people think business is.
Yeah.
There's a corporate attorney, you can look this up, there's a great article he wrote. His name is James Gamble, and he wrote this article in Medium called The Biggest Problem in the World, I think that's what it's called. And his central point is that our business environment compels business leaders to act like a textbook example of sociopathic personality disorder. They only care about themselves, they only care about money, and they push the problems on everybody else. Yeah. But I think there's a generational shift coming in. So I told you, this is who we attract, the dark triad.
Okay.
2 years of an MBA, people become more selfish and more self-monitoring. They care more what people think of them.
Research shows that.
Research shows that.
Okay.
And then you see it on the other end. I mean, it's our graduates that caused the 2008 financial crisis. Have you heard any business school say, sorry about that?
That was thanks to us.
Maybe we should rethink this. And so I think that we need to take more of a responsibility for creating the kind of leaders that our world needs today. The nice thing is I think more and more students are coming in looking for that education, feeling a sense of purpose and calling to actually use business as a way to solve society's problems, which is getting back to Colin Meyer's definition. It's getting to Paul Pullman's definition of net positive. And so how do we create and cultivate those kinds of leaders is something that I think business schools, I'd like to take them that seriously. And that means they have to have an aspirational statement of what kind of world they want to see and not be afraid to say, we're going to create people that are going to do that.